it gets overwhelming.
It does.
Like, I can't do this alone. But then I remember everything that I've been through in my life, I got through, right? I got through the cancer. I got through not a very good marriage. I got through being a single mom and watching my son thrive. So if I can get through all of those things, why would I give up before I can see things turn into fruition? So that's what continues to push me.
All right, so welcome back, everybody. It's your boy Billy Wayne, back again with another episode for Legacy United, the Righteous Project 8 production. We invite people from everywhere, local businesses, people that want to come on the show and share their story. And today we have Jonecka Williams. Go ahead and say hi to the audience.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, we appreciate you joining us. And as you guys know, we definitely give the platform to our guests and want to make sure that they share the journey and just help provide that motivation for people that are probably in the same situation or looking for some type of guidance, to get to where they're going as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass it to you and go ahead and take over.
Hello, everyone. I am Jonecka Lady J. Williams. My business is Abundant Distinction, LLC. And it is wellness teas. Basically, it's a wellness shop. So I do loose leaf wellness teas that help with all kinds of things from headache, hormone balancing, sleep, anxiety. And then I also do hair growth oils, do face oils, steam conditioners, everything 100% natural.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely have a couple of your products as well. And, we've done a couple of vendor events together. Let's take it back a little bit. What journey that you went on to kind of get you to the point that you are today?
Yeah, so I've always been really into natural living. I can't say that my entire life I was 100% natural in the extent that I am now. I've always, I've taken echinacea, elderberry, used black soap, those things like that. Yep. When I was 23, I had to have a hysterectomy at 23, which is extremely scary, Luckily, I had already had my son. And at that point, they wouldn't put me on hormone replacement therapy because they said I was too young. So not having any female organs whatsoever. So I did a complete hysterectomy because they told me that I had ovarian cancer. After I had the surgery, it turned out I didn't have ovarian cancer. And so then I had to figure out how to balance out my own hormones. I started to gain weight. I had gotten up to where I was 260 pounds.
Wow.
And I just really started to look into natural ways to at least balance out my hormones. So I started to do that. But then what really enthralled me fully into where I am is in 2020, I then was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, which was actually thyroid cancer. Wow. After I healed from the cancer, I just told myself I'm tired. For over 20 years, I had been on medication after medication. One medication would give me a ulcer. Then they'd give me another medication for the ulcer. Then it would give me migraines. Then they would give me another medication. And at one point I looked up and I had like 30 medication bottles on my counter. And I was like, I can't live like this. I'm miserable. It's making me unhealthy. So how do I take back my power? So I started learning about natural living. I got a divorce and I just fully threw myself into how do I heal myself? And how do I take back my power? And I found my power in herbs. So I started blending up teas. And initially it was just for myself. And then I made one for my mom to help open up her respiratory system because she has COPD. Wow. And it helped her immediately, after the one cup. And then family started asking me for teas and more teas. And here we are.
That's quite a story for sure. And it's common. I hear that a lot to where, you're diagnosed with something in the medical field and they prescribe you something. You need to counter that with this. And then at this point, you're taking all these medications and you kind of think to yourself, is this really worth it?
Right.
But I have heard that before. I'm a type 2 diabetic. And not until this year, which is a crazy story, I went to a follow-up appointment at my dentist, right? It's crazy. And she asked me about it. And I was just answering questions. And she was like, well, I'm only asking you because she used to be type 2 diabetic as well. And she said she was over 300 pounds. And she started pursuing natural remedies. And she did prescribe, or she provided me with a couple of books to read, which I'm in the middle of reading. But it's that same story. And there's a lot of things, and I hear it all the time. Doctors only put a Band-Aid fix on this, the condition, and it's not an actual remedy. And that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. But from your story, you were misdiagnosed with cancer that led to another part of your life that actually led to a diagnosis of cancer, and then just kind of dealing with that. Do you still go through complications at all through cancer? Or
I
anything?
don't. I do often mammograms,
Okay.
just because since I have the cancer marker,
Yeah.
they always want to make sure
Right,
that
of course.
I do my mammograms.
Yeah.
And I'm just fine.
That's amazing.
And to be completely honest, I'm changing my lifestyle with
Mhm.
drinking my teas, eating my herbs, my fruits, and my vegetables, making sure that I'm putting the right supplements
Yeah.
in my body. This is the healthiest that I think that I've probably ever been.
Yeah, right.
Whether it's just from being able to sleep, not having migraines. I mean, at one
Right.
point, I couldn't wake up without a migraine.
Yeah.
It was debilitating. I even had FMLA
Wow.
for
Yeah.
migraines.
Right. Yep.
And it's hard to say that because I didn't even have FMLA when I had cancer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I had FMLA for migraines because they would be so debilitating that
Yeah.
I couldn't even open my eyes. I can't tell you the last time that I had a headache. It's been a powerful spiritual and physical journey.
Yeah. That's amazing. Just all of that, starting from helping heal yourself to help out with your mom,
Yeah.
and then at that point, you felt like you can kind of turn this into a business.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that. What kind of made you take that step from just healing others to kind of branching out into your own?
Yeah, so it was really interesting because I walked away from a very lucrative business,
Yeah.
a career I had been in for 12 years, making well over six figures, but it was not fulfilling.
Mhm.
It was draining.
Yeah.
I was working so many hours, and I walked away from it because it was causing mental stress,
Okay.
depression, and all kinds of things. And
Yeah.
so when I walked away, I was in panic mode. I was like, what am I going to do? I have a child in college, finances, what am I
Yeah.
going to do? And I remember going on a hike and going into the mountains and just having a prayer session with God. Like,
Okay.
you just got to guide me. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. And so I had gotten, so I have my certification in herbalism. I have
Nice.
my certification in anatomy and physiology.
Yeah.
But I also have my certification in somatic healing.
Yeah. Okay.
So I initially thought that was going to be my focus. I thought that's what God was saying.
Yeah.
Yes, you are going to be healing. You need to be focused on somatic healing.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was doing. And it was like, well, God, I'm not really getting many clients.
Yeah.
Why would you, what is happening?
Mhm.
And then, but everyone kept asking me for teas. So
Yeah.
like even before with my clients, I would start them off with a tea just to relax them.
Okay.
An anxiety tea or my meditative tea. Like, we're just going to get you relaxed, get your body flowing, get your mind okay. And then I started noticing people just kept coming back for the tea or texting me. And they're like, that tea? Whew,
Okay.
that tea you gave me that opened up my mute. And then it was just like, light bulb. Maybe that's where your focus should be, especially because you are feeling fulfilled, especially when I get reviews from people who have told me how it's healed them. Actually, I just got one today from a young lady who asked me to help her get pregnant. And she hasn't had a menstruation in over a year. Gave her a few teas, instructions, things that she should be doing. And I said, first step is we got to get you to have a period.
Yeah.
And she texted me today. It's like, I had a period for the first time in over a year. And so those are the things that just bring me joy.
Yeah.
When I get those phone calls, those text messages from people that, say, you helped me, you healed me. And now I know that I'm walking in my purpose. So long story short, I should say God, right?
Yeah. For sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And a lot of people don't, they get to a certain point in their life and they run into certain obstacles, right? Like yourself, you were doing the teas and you were holding sessions with clients, and you felt like you weren't gaining what you were trying to, what your mission was, and you kind of changed direction a little bit, and it kind of branched out into doing what you're doing now, which is awesome. Was there ever a point to where you felt like you were in over your head in this journey?
All the time.
And what was it? What was it that kept you moving forward from there?
I want to say often, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you have to pivot, because I had even opened up with a business partner. We had opened up not the space I'm in now, a different space.
Yeah.
And so when you are physically paying for a space and you are not seeing, the residual income coming in, it was like, maybe I need to go back to corporate America. This wasn't meant for me.
Yeah.
But then I remembered I'm not a quitter. And anything worth having is going to be difficult. Yeah. There's nothing that's going to be easy unless it's easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And we know that starting a business is not easy.
Right.
Running a business alone is not easy. And then everything that goes into my business, right? I'm a one-woman show. So I am curating the blends by myself.
Right.
I'm getting the herbs by myself. I'm packaging by myself. I'm creating my labels by myself. I'm shipping by myself.
Right.
I'm collaborating. I'm networking. All of these things. I am everything. Many times it gets overwhelming. I can't do this alone. But then I remember everything that I've been through in my life, I got through, right? I got through the cancer. I got through not a very good marriage. I got through being a single mom and watching my son thrive. So if I can get through all of those things, why would I give up before I can see things turn into fruition? So that's what continues to push me. And just looking at my son and how proud he is.
Yeah, that's what's up.
As you've seen, he comes, he's only here for the summer, but every event, he's there.
Yeah.
And he's right by my side. And every time that he hears a review or someone comes, he's like, high five, Mom. I'm so proud of you.
That's what's up.
And so he's my drive.
Yeah, you need people like that. Especially family. Family. It's motivating for real. So is there anything that you know now that you wish you would have known before you started pursuing the entrepreneurial life? Is there anything that if you would have went back, you would have done it differently or started it out another way?
Yeah. So I recently graduated from a program, a business accelerator through Mile High United Way.
Okay.
And I wish I would have done it sooner.
Yeah.
Because when you start a business, you think you have the checklist, right? You're like, registered, check. Sales tax, check.
Right.
Okay. Now what, right? And then you don't think about all the other things on the back end that you need to know, that you need to understand, that you need to have. So I wish I would have done it sooner.
Yeah, for sure.
And I always tell business owners that are starting, make sure that you have a mentor. Or you do something, because you don't know what you don't know. And had I kept going down the path that I was going down, I don't think that I would have had any of the opportunities that I have now because I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know what I needed. So
no, I feel that a lot. The biggest thing that I ever learned, and you probably hear me talk about it a lot on social media, through videos, through these podcasts, is marketing. Right? You can have the best product. You can have the best product out there. But if you do not market your product or even market it effectively, it's not going to get where you want it to go. There's other people that market. They can have a inferior product. Everybody works hard, right? But their product might not be the best product. But if their marketing is top tier, that's where, you're going to see that flourish, right? And it does come from having to kind of step out of your shell and get yourself out there and not be afraid just to put yourself out there to make sure people notice what you're doing. Friends and family support, that's great. That's great. But usually their opinion will be biased.
Right.
And they will tell you that anything that you're doing is great. Right. But you have to get beyond that. You need the family's friends, to kind of push that out there. Right. But it always starts at home. Family, friends, they'll help support you, or they'll give you reviews. But then you need to figure out how to branch beyond that, But I see a lot of that coming from you right now, because we've only known each other maybe a couple of months, right? But you reached out. There were opportunities to do a vendor event. You did the vendor event, but you also had an opening of your storefront as well on the same day. So you were willing to take those extra steps and get it done. You weren't like, oh well, let me just not do this and let me focus on this. It was like, well, these two opportunities are going to be great, so let me go ahead and put myself out there.
Right. And that's so important. A lot of people ask me a lot. They're like, well, you're inside of Layla's Honey with the storefront. And why are you still doing vendor? Why are you still doing pop-ups? Because we need to put our name out there, right? So the more that I'm out there, like I'm in the Green Valley Ranch farmers market every Wednesday, so that when people purchase, they can say, where do I go to get more? You can go on the website or you can come into the store on Northfield, right? So you're getting that marketing, you're getting those people inside. And then also it's really important to know your customer. Know your customer avatar, because I know when I first started and someone asked me in the class, who's your customer? And I'm like, anybody who drinks tea.
Right. Yep.
And no, that's not my customer, right? Like really getting down to understanding, because a lot of times too, we think your friends and your family are going to be your main customer, and they're not. I do have some friends that, shout out Michelle Williams and Marquita, my cousin, they are like every week, like clockwork. The bulk of my clients come from places where I would have never expected, right? And so you have to really fully understand who your customer is. So when someone asks me now, I say anyone that is health conscious from the ages of 18, 50, who likes tea, whether it's hot or cold. And I do have some products that are going to be coming out that are outside of tea as well. But my customer is someone that's health conscious, not just someone that drinks tea, because you can get over the counter green tea. You can get any type of tea. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're healthy and you're drinking healthy tea. And then that's what stands out about mine is that, yes, it's tea, but it's a wellness tea that also tastes good.
Right, that's valid. And that's an important message about marketing as well. So, and I heard this on, somebody said on social media, same thing, same exact thing. Who's your customer? Whoever takes whatever my product is. So when you're marketing and you send a marketing ad, let's just put social media out there. In social media, and you say, you sell football jerseys, and you say, who's your market? Anybody that likes football. And you put an ad out there that says football. Your ad is going out to maybe 5-6 million people, and you're like, hey, that's what's up. I'm going out to 5 or 6 million people. Man, I got to get a sale somehow, but then you don't get sales. You fine tune it. Who is it? Okay, well, it's people that like the Denver Broncos. Then you're starting to funnel your customer base to where you will get more direct responses and the people that you actually focus on, and it's not just the broad one, it's who you really want, not just buy the product, but to connect themselves to your vision as well, and that's by just fine tuning that.
And to be a return customer.
Exactly.
Right. Because you don't want, yes, we want customers. You want all the customers, but you want them to come back. Right. So even if in that scenario, if it's like, okay, just football, but what if they're really into college football? And your focus is NFL. So now they may purchase something once, but then they're not going to come back because they're going to be like, well, I really wanted something for Ohio State. And they only have Bronx, right?
And you don't learn any of that, like you're saying. You wish you knew it before you started, but man, there's some things, even school and studying definitely takes you further as well, because you understand a lot more about it. But then that experience, because you have to implement what you learn and then test it out to see what works and what doesn't work. And that's the difference between people that start and people that cross the finish line, and not just the finish line, but there's always goals to accomplish, right? But some people stop in the middle because they don't want to do that extra work. They want that end goal, but they don't want to put in that nights creating your labels, getting the labels and they're wrong, or fine tuning the product, or which bottles are the best for this, or how do I safely and take care of these products? Is it lasting? How long did it last? All that stuff in between.
Or being able to take feedback and constructive criticism. That's the other part, because I am a big advocate on that. I'm a person, everyone who knows me knows, like, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I have those type of people around me.
That's what's up.
Don't just feed me something because you think I want to hear it, because I don't want to hear that. I want to hear the truth, because I can't be better if you're just stroking. Don't stroke my invisible ego. Tell me the truth so then I can be better, whether it's me as a personal person, an individual, whether it's from my business, whether it's from my products. Tell me the truth. And granted, with being a business owner, that you have to take what you can. You can't necessarily take all the criticism, right? Because some things may not fit. That's just their personal perspective. But being able to identify what you do need to take from it and what you don't, and what you need to leave.
And I like that you said that. My favorite quote is, I would rather be around people who are honest than people that are loyal. you know, because if they're honest, you know where they stand and you get the true person, right? So you can kind of adjust yourself to the honesty, you know, versus somebody who's loyal who's just going to just say whatever because, you know, we boys for 20 years and I'm just going to side with you, you know. The honesty can get you a lot further than, you know, people that just tell you what you want to hear. So I'm glad you brought that up.
And I have no problem asking people that I don't know for feedback. Actually, 2 weeks ago at the farmer's market, there was a man walking by. I stopped him. He had a beard. And I was like, what do you use on your beard? And I was like, I want you to try my beard oil. Okay. And I would love for you to give me feedback. And so then the next week he found me and I was like, give me the feedback. Tell me everything. I want to know the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, don't just tell me, oh, it was great. Because it could just be great. But is there anything that you know? And he was like, I loved it. Only thing I would say is about like after hour 10, my beard was a little dry. And I was like, after 10 hours? Well, okay. Well, I think that's great that it held up for 10 hours and it's all natural products and no, you know, fillers. But being able to hear that, like, okay, so a man is going to want it to last longer than 10 hours because they may be at work for 8 hours. They may want to go hang out with the boys. They want to look fresh when they, you know, try and be out and about. So, you know, that's feedback that I need to hear. And so being able to accept the feedback and not being like, whatever, it lasts 10 hours. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A good message to send out there to any entrepreneur starting out. Feedback. But, you know, take the feedback and kind of chip away at what you feel or what you understand. Because the more feedback you get, the more of a trend that you see. And you can adjust to it. So if anybody wants to find your product, where can they go?
So I actually tore down my website.
Okay.
Because I built my website from scratch. And I had never built a website before. And it was functional, right? And you could purchase the products and everything. But now I want professional, smooth feel. Okay. So I'm redoing it. I'm almost done. Right. It should be done in about a week. So the website is abundantdistinction.com. But also the storefront is Layla's Honey in Northfield Shopping Center. We are in Suite 1740. Right next to Sephora, across from Nike.
So, final question for you. If there is one phrase or one word or phrase that you would use to sum up your journey, what would that be?
God didn't bring me this far to just bring me this far.
Oh, I feel that. That's what's up. That's right. Big time.
I really believe that in every aspect of my life because God brought me through so much. The false cancer, the residual from the surgeries. Right prior to having the diagnosis of the thyroid cancer, I was in a really bad car accident and I had to have my hip labrum was completely destroyed. I had to have cadaver tissues put in. Then a month later, they did my knee, same leg, 6 herniated discs in my back. Then a couple months later, I have the diagnosis of the cancer. And every step of the way, I know that God didn't bring me to that point to just say, okay, now I'm done. No, everything was meant for something to bring me to where I am now and where I'm going to be.
I like that. Your journey truly led you to healing people. You're going from trying to figure out how to heal yourself to healing others. And I think that is a major, it's a major task. So we appreciate people like you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And if you guys enjoyed the episode as well, make sure you like and subscribe too. And you know, just let us know how you guys liked it. But, you know, once again, this is Billy Wayne and Jonecka signing out for the day for the Legacy United podcast. You guys take it easy. All right, have a good one.